People tend to have this habit of treating God as such a small God, and I think we need to get out of that very, very soon. Because if you haven't realized yet, we are in the end times, and that means that Jesus can come back anytime now, right? And you have to believe that if we're in the end times, there's going to be more supernatural things happening more than ever, right? Because if we're in the end times, that means we're in the book of Revelations. And in the book of Revelations, there were a lot of supernatural things happening, a lot of spiritual warfare going on, a lot of demonic things happening. We're in the end times, right? And I think, again, we start to look at God as this small God. We start to look at God as this logical God, this God that will not tell you to do certain things. He won't tell you to go by faith. He won't tell you to he'll tell you to go by faith, but not this much, only this much. He won't tell you to fast longer than a day. He won't tell you to fast longer than a week. He won't tell you to fast for a month. That's not the God we serve. He won't tell you to fast that long. He won't tell you to stay up in the middle of the night because he wants to talk to you. He won't tell you that. He won't give you insomnia. He won't tell you to walk up to somebody and not give you further instruction. Just literally tell you that, right? He has to give you direction. He won't confuse you. It's not confusion to give somebody one form of direction, right? If God says walk up to that person, that's not confusion. Confusion, we have to stop deeming little direction to confusion. We have to stop thinking that's the same thing. Confusion is if you think that God is telling you one thing and then your mind completely tells you the opposite and you call that God, right? That would be confusion. God doesn't tell you one thing and then tells you complete opposite. Like if you say, God, should I be friends with this person? And God says, yes, you should. And then he says, maybe not. Yeah, you should. Yeah, God doesn't do that. But if God says, walk up to that person, and you're like, why, God? And he's like, just walk up to that person. The fact that you are confused on why you're walking up is not him causing confusion. That's your flesh causing confusion. So to say that God would not tell you that because you felt confusion is false. Your flesh is going to feel confusion no matter what, right? It might feel confusion, but God did not cause that confusion. So when people say that God will not tell you, for example, to walk up to somebody because you felt confusion, and you're like, well, was that me or God? That's unbiblical, right? That's just a lack of faith that you thought that wasn't God. So if God tells you to walk up to somebody and that's all he tells you, understand God does that. Let's look in the story of Abraham, where he said, Abraham, sacrifice your son Isaac. He didn't tell him anything else. He didn't say, I want you to sacrifice your son, but actually I'm just testing your faith. I just want to see if you're going to obey me. I'm going to bring him back though, right? He didn't say any of that. All he said was, Abraham, sacrifice your son. And Abraham said, okay, come with me, Isaac. So to think that God would not do the same things that he did in the Bible in this life, what would be the point of us reading the Bible? We're supposed to get intellect and understanding of the Bible for our lives, right? Obviously, we're not in the Bible times. There's not going to be an actual demon in front of us physically, right, fighting us like there was in the Bible in the Old Testament and stuff. But you have to understand that, again, we are in the end times. There are going to be more supernatural things happening. And we have to stop thinking that God is this logical God. God would not put you in a dangerous situation. Why wouldn't he? A dangerous situation? Meaning he is going to be your protector. But a dangerous situation in the eyes of man? Of course he would. Of course he would. People would believe that God wouldn't tell somebody to sell their house and sleep outdoors because that's dangerous. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? Because it's not in a warm bed. Do you understand? God never said that we would be comfortable. He never promised us comfortability ever, right? People are saying that God would never. There's some people that might say God would never tell someone to walk from one state to another state, right? Let's just say somebody said that God told him to walk from, which there is a man that said that God told him to walk from New York to Florida or Florida to New York. He was deemed crazy. To say that God would not tell you to do that because it's deemed dangerous because you're walking too long, you could get hurt, God never said that he is going to keep us in this box of where we cannot go out into the world, of where we are supposed to not go out and experience, right? How do you expect people that cast away demons inside of people, cast away people that are possessed? How do you expect them to do that? Do you expect them to not do that because it's dangerous? Or would you say that that is a gift that some people have, is to cast out demons in possessed people? Because that's a gift that God has given certain people, and that's deemed as dangerous, right? To think that God is so limited, we have to stop thinking that, because I'm telling you, if you're witnessing, if you're paying attention, there's a lot of supernatural things happening more than ever. Our spiritual tolerance is growing, right? Our spiritual tolerance is growing. So there's going to be more faith walks that are deemed crazy. There's going to be more people that are saying God told them to fast for 2 months. There's going to be more people that are telling them, God is telling them to sell their house and live on the streets. There's going to be more people where God is telling them to jump on faith and move across the country. There's going to be more people like this. And to deem them as crazy, it's okay, right? Noah was called crazy, right? Mary was called crazy. Jesus' disciples were called crazy. A lot of people in the Bible were called crazy for jumping out on faith, for believing the God of this universe. So it's normal for people to think that it's, crazy. But I'm telling you, if you don't grasp a hold of what's happening in the world to where God is heightening our spiritual tolerance, you're going to lose yourself in the midst of when things start to really turn around, and when things start to fall apart, and when the government starts to crumble, and when things starts to happen to where we have to probably grow our own food, where the food supply is destroyed, to where there's famines, right? There's supernatural things happening. There's disasters happening, natural disasters. You're going to lose yourself when that starts to happen. So when you start to think, again, that God is only limited to this box and he won't tell you to do certain things, I need you to really, really get a grasp of the Bible, right? Because if you think that my faith walk is too crazy because I fasted and didn't sleep for 3 days, I need you to get into your Bible and see the things that they endured, because it's way worse, right? 3 days is nothing compared to what Jesus did. He did 40 days and 40 nights. And it never said in the Bible if he actually slept or not. I'm not saying he did or didn't, but all I'm saying is it never said if he slept or not. So to say that God would never tell me to do that because he wouldn't want me to lose sleep, yes, it tells us to rest in the Bible, but never does it say that God would not tell you to stay up. It doesn't say that. So I just wanted to speak on that because I feel like a lot of people are losing the sense of who God really is, and they're going to lose themselves in the midst of when things really start to turn around.